GM, welcome to Shardeum's December 2023 monthly update. We're excited to share our progress as we transition from 2023, the year of Shardeum Sphinx, our betanet, to 2024, the year of Shardeum mainnet. Really appreciate everyone in the community support over the past year as we released numerous versions of our testnets, held over 270 proof of community events around the world that over 17,000 people attended, onboarded over 100 projects to the Shardeum ecosystem, and really looking forward to this year as we launch mainnet and start focusing on helping companies build on Shardeum and scale to multi-million or billion-dollar companies and enable access to decentralization throughout the world. Today, we'll be covering progress updates for marketing, business, people operations, ecosystem, and technology throughout the month of December. We'll be talking about roadmap updates and the time to mainnet and beyond, and answering any questions you may have. If you have questions, please post them in the chat on YouTube throughout the presentation, and we'll get to them at the end of the call. With that, I'd like to introduce Shardeum Foundation's co-founder and president, Nischal Shetty.
Thanks, Greg. Hey, everyone. Wishing all of you a very happy new year. 2024 is going to be really exciting for Shardeum and the Shardeum community. I think the most requested thing, which is mainnet, is something that we planned for this year, and we intend to achieve that by the end of this quarter. December has been pretty interesting. It's been a slow month in general, but we've had some really good progress. The Shardeum is Borderless program, for example, I think it attracted the largest number of guest posts, which was 265, and this was 17% higher than November. And we got contributions overall until now as part of the Shardeum is Borderless program. We've got contributions from 47 countries in 36 languages. To just brush up those who are new, Shardeum is Borderless is a program where we invite people to write and submit content around Shardeum in different regional languages. And I would request all of you to keep contributing, because one of the things that's been missing in the Web3 ecosystem is that all of the content is always in English. And we kept getting this feedback from our community around the world that you need to produce content in different languages. And that's where the Shardeum is Borderless program was launched. And it's seeing some great success. So keep submitting more to this program. Proof of community was slower than the previous months. We've had 15 events, which was lower than the months before. But that's because the last 2 months, 2 weeks of December, we decided to go slow, considering the holidays and the fact that we were going to conduct India's biggest proof of community event, and that was a great success. We saw over 450 people attending. We had seats and reservations only for I think 200 or 250. So it was a pleasant surprise to see so many people attending the event. At the last moment, we had to increase the number of participants because there were just so many people who wanted to attend. We also launched the Shard Hats campaign, where we distributed 2,000 hats. I've got mine out here, So I think if you guys haven't got your hands on the Shard Hats, attend the POC, the proof of community events that happen around you. We intend to distribute more of those in our upcoming events around the world. In terms of proof of community, we also conducted our first proof of community in Rwanda in December. And the idea is to keep adding new cities every month, either around the world, not just in India, but anywhere in the world. In fact, I think we plan to conduct a new proof of community for the first time in Tokyo in Jan. So that's one of the new cities that we'll be unlocking. In terms of socials, we've been growing really well with Shardeum leagues. We've got 67 Shardeum leagues that have been created until now. Some of the new Shardeum leagues that got created in December were Shardeum Kenya, Shardeum Titan, Shardeum Chennai, Shardeum Nagpur, Shardeum Ondo, and a few others. So keep creating new communities around Shardeum. That's how we decentralize the community. We don't want communities to be just run by the Shardeum Foundation. We want all of you to be able to run your own Shardeum communities, and the Shardeum Leagues is a program designed around that. We'll be happy to help you with your respective communities to help them grow. So whenever you create a Shardeum community, please reach out to us so that we can talk about it and get more people to join your community. Can we go to the next slide? The metrics. Yeah, so since December was a slower month, we saw some dip in traffic. The website traffic, we saw a 25% dip, and the blog traffic about 10%. But I think we'll cover this in Jan. It'll be much more higher. We had lesser POC events, like I said, about 15, but we had more number of participants. I think it was also because of the biggest POC event that was held in Bangalore. So we saw over 1,066 participants overall in our proof of community events in December. The YouTube Discord channels have been growing at a decent pace. Yeah, let's go to the next one. So we intend to launch the blockchain fundamentals quiz page, which will be targeted at Web3 beginners. That's going to happen in Jan. And like I said, we are going to hold the first POC event in Tokyo this month. So we are unlocking Japan with proof of community. We also intend to launch a developer community on Telegram. That's something the team has been working on. So that's about it. We look forward to your support as we go towards the mainnet. Anson is going to take over for the US and Europe marketing updates. Thank you.
Thanks, Nischal. Hey, I'm Anson. I help with growth efforts in the US, and I'm updating on behalf of Kelsey today. So some highlights for December. We're excited to share that 12% of our website visits are from the US and up from 8.5 the previous month. So this is a strong signal that there are more interest within the US about Shardeum since we started our focus here, and also signaling to us that we're moving in the right direction. In December, we also launched our first partnership with Milk Road, a crypto-specific newsletter with almost 300,000 subscribers. So our partnership with them will continue in the next couple of months as we double down our effort in evangelizing about Shardeum in the US and Europe region. Looking ahead, we will be hosting our next Proof of Community event in New York City in collaboration with university blockchain clubs like Cornell, Harvard, Columbia, NYU within the New York region. This event will be focused on helping technical undergraduates and grad students learn more about the Shardeum ecosystem while providing a platform for them to network. Now I'll hand over the time to Shazad to give updates on the business side.
Thank you, Hanson. To give you an update on where we are from a business development perspective and also from a partnership perspective, I'll just take a step back to what Nischal talked about was, the proof of community event in Bangalore. And having seen that live and having seen the response and the participation, it was probably, one of the best events I've been in my life. Literally, we had a crowd as enthusiastic as they could be, and it was just phenomenal to see the response which Shardeum received. So thank you very much for the community in Bangalore for giving us that hospitality and that welcome. It was enormous. Thank you very much again. From a security standpoint, we have already started 2 security audits internally, and we will also be doing a bug bounty. So those are upcoming in the next few weeks as we move forward. As the blockchain is feature complete, and we're very happy to ensure that we've got 2 extremely good security providers onboarded to help us out in this phase. We will also be announcing a lot of partnerships from a staker perspective. These will be retail as well as cloud service providers, and I'm sure Greg would be talking about another agreement which we are basically inking and getting that onboarded. So there's some very, very exciting news coming at that end. We will also be signing up contracts from our centralized exchange perspective. So we're focusing on the top tier centralized exchanges and also from very, very strong regional providers who can help provide liquidity for the Shardeum token globally. And those are all being worked out as we speak, and we should have several announcements coming in the next few weeks. That is ongoing. And from a DeFi partnership, we have several of DeFi partners being onboarded. And again, you will hear from Priyanka about our announcements after the 10th of January. So thank you very much again for the community for being with us, and looking forward to get to mainnet as soon as possible. With that, I hand it over to Jeremy.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you again this month. And just to also echo what Shahzad said, it was an amazing time in Bangalore with ETH India, talking to a lot of potential candidates and hopefully future teammates. So we ended the year at 59 team members at Shardeum, and that meant we added a couple people in December. Most importantly, and I'll intro shortly, our new head of open source. And generally, we'll see a lot of new roles across the team opening up on our careers page. So please bookmark that, especially as we align our 2024 hiring plan against our scale and growth goals with mainnet. So please keep a close eye on that. And if you know anyone in your network that might be a good fit for us, we love referrals. So as always, wonderful to chat with everyone. And it is my great pleasure to introduce Chris Chabot, who has joined us as our head of open source. Over to you, Chris.
Thank you, Jeremy. As Jeremy said, I joined as the head of open source, and I was reminded of this African saying that if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, you have to go together. And with a vision as aspirational, as inspirational, as making Web3 usable and useful for everyone on this planet, that's more than true, right? So to go to where we want to go, we have to go together as a community, and open source is a big part of that. So innovation has always been like this, right? It's driven by small groups of people that together create that vision and turn it into an avalanche of momentum that ends up changing the world. So I spent the better part of 3 decades building developer platforms, developer relations teams, working in open source. The first time I was working open source was back in the Linux kernel 0.17, I think, with Linus Torvalds and Alan Cox. Been working that ever since, and there's nothing more exciting than building groups of people that make these realities happen. So I'm thrilled to join Shardeum and work with all of you on making that vision reality. Over to you, Greg.
Thanks, Chris. Super stoked to have you on the team and to grow the Shardeum developer community. December and moving forward into 2024 is a really exciting time for the Shardeum ecosystem. In December, we launched our founder workshop campaigns. We're very excited to support developers building new companies on Shardeum. I mean, if you've seen Twitter in the past 12 hours, you've probably seen this new startup, Minter, launch their Shardeum validator hosting. This Minter is built by a team of students from SRM Chennai. And on their first day of Minter being live, they generated $5,200 in revenue. For anyone who's tried to start a company before, you know how difficult it is to earn your first revenue. And, you know, to see Minter at a $2 million annual run rate on their first day is super impressive. Excited to watch other companies around the world get built on Shardeum and turn them into multi-million or billion-dollar businesses. And for us, that starts with workshops, events, and activities to help founders learn how to launch companies on Shardeum, meet with other founders, meet with VCs who they can learn from on, you know, guidance to raise funding, and really work hand in hand with you to build new companies on Shardeum that aren't just forks of what already exist, but new innovative use cases of decentralization that solve problems in real world use cases for millions of people around the world. So we started with 2 workshops. One was focused on investor networking. Another was with Pareen Lathia, the founder of Bidler's Tribe, now Biddleso, who spoke to our founder community about how to build their own community as a founder. And we have an exciting schedule of additional workshops coming up with you know, people that can give you guidance on fundraising, on scaling your business, launching your MVP, finding your first users, etc. In December, we also launched the Shardeum DApp boilerplate. This was a great tool built by our DevRel team. Shout out to Sandipan and Swarna, where developers who are learning about how to build in Web3 can fork this repo, easily install it with a one-line npm command, and you know, have a toolkit that shows them how all the EVM RPC methods work, gives them existing applications that they can fork and build on, like an AMM and an NFT tool. So really excited to make use of that as we educate more developers on how to build in Web3 throughout this year. Currently in Shardeum's ecosystem CRM pipeline, there are 414 projects we have relationships with. As we approach mainnet and launch additional testnets and then launch mainnet, we're very excited to invite all of these projects to deploy their products on Shardeum. Over 50 products have been deployed on Shardeum's testnets to date, and there's currently around 150 products that we expect to be compatible with Shardeum mainnet and live when it launches or shortly thereafter. So for now until mainnet launches, we'll be really focused on launching on-chain activities with our ecosystem projects, focusing on promoting them and helping them generate on-chain traction leading up to mainnet, and you know, scaling the ecosystem and inviting new teams to build on Shardeum. Throughout January, we'll be launching Shardeum University, which is a learning platform for the Shardeum community. We'll be focused on creating numerous courses there, such as courses for founders, courses to teach developers how to build their first smart contracts, informational courses about Shardeum and its technology. So look for Shardeum University launching this month. As Shahzad mentioned, his team's made a lot of great traction on forming partnerships for the one-click Shardeum validator install experience. Minter has already launched. Spheron will also be launching an app, and we're excited for some of the largest cloud infrastructure companies or cloud hosting companies in the world to add the Shardeum validator to their app marketplace as well. More news on those partnerships coming soon. Finally, as I mentioned, really excited to start launching on-chain campaigns leading up to mainnet starting this month. With that, I'd love to introduce Shardeum's co-founder, Omar, to talk about our tech progress.
Thank you, Greg. Happy New Year's, everyone. Really excited to be going into the new year and heading towards, looking forward to the launch of our mainnet. We have a lot of exciting things happening on the tech side. If you've been, running a validator or watching our Explorer, you know that we just recently, last week, launched our 1.9.0 version of our beta net, and that's running really smoothly. And we're now working towards wrapping up some more features. So the 1.9.0 had many really exciting features in there. Probably one of the biggest set of features that we've ever launched with. So that went really well. And we're wrapping up some more features that we're going to be adding and releasing. And then that'll get us towards 1.9.1. And once that looks good, then we'll probably go to 1.10.0, which is going to be like an incentivized test net, where we didn't really officially announce like an incentivized test net, but we'll probably be announcing that. So look forward to that announcement coming up. And there's a lot of exciting things that'll go into that as well. But yeah, so we've got a lot of features in, and we're now focusing on the scalability, security, performance, and just fixing any bugs that pop up in the network. So we're working more towards that. We actually also have filed 2 patents, and we're filing a 3rd one. That's in progress. And we're getting our software ready to open source and make available to the community to help us with, contributing to the software, helping us find bugs and submit bug bounties and earn rewards, so forth. Looking back at the history of the project, it's, amazing how far we've come. It was in like February of 2022 when Nischal and I announced the Shardeum project. And shortly thereafter, we launched our AlphaNet. And then, we learned a lot from that. And then by February of 2023, we launched our BetaNet. And that was a huge increment where now, community members were able to run nodes and contribute to the network. And we learned a lot from that. And, now we're planning to get our incentivized testnet, hopefully in February out. And that'll get us set up to start really focusing on getting the network ready for the mainnet launch. So really looking forward to that, and looking forward to the community members contributing and helping out on that. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mark and Andrew, who will cover a little bit more about our upcoming roadmap.
Yeah, thanks, Omar. Excuse me. I'm Mark Hansen. I'm the VP of Engineering at Shardeum. And so exciting start to the year. We have our 1.9.0 network live right now. As Omar mentioned, it has a large number of feature projects included in that release. Probably will be the largest release of our road to mainnet. And the team is currently wrapping up the final batch of feature projects for our incentivized testnet. And this is the last batch of features that we needed to have in order to go to mainnet. We've got a lot of focus on security, stability, performance, and bug fix. We'll shift to be even more responsive to bug fixes and security issues and community issues as developers roll off of planned feature work. So that's extremely exciting. We also have a validator operator upgrade, user-facing bug fixes feature that we added that was not on the previous month's update that will be going out. We've got our ongoing security audits. We're working on finishing the DAO features for Shardeum network, our open source linting preparations, and other things like performance optimizations and validator node slashing. Our Q1 roadmap is started, and that is going to be a big shift, as I mentioned, from going from feature complete development to mainnet. And so this is like a super exciting time for the team. And I guess I will turn it over to Andrew now, and he's got a bunch of technical information to share that's really exciting. So.
Sure. Thanks, Mark. So yeah, one of the roadmap entries for us now, I think it's abbreviated SSPB, but that is stability work, security work, performance work, and bug fixes. So as devs are wrapping up these last few features in January, they're rolling over to this kind of effort. And so yeah, there's stability work for us to do. There's responding to the security audits when they find things, and also the bug bounty. And there will be some scalability work as well. And then additionally, responding to the testnet feedback we get, which could be bug reports. And some of the devs had already wrapped up their work earlier in December, and so that they had already kind of rolled onto this, and we got a head start on some things. Recently, there was some work to take some CPU hotspots and port that code over to Rust so we could get faster execution. And we, besides that, we will also be working on improving our automated test tools and just improving coverage by improving the diversity of our test cases. On those topics are not like completely new things to us. I mean, this entire time we've been working on security and stability and performance. It just, the difference now is that that we've got our features wrapped up, the majority of them wrapped up, and the last few finishing. It's going to be really exciting to have this transition where the whole team the dev team can be really focused on just these areas to get us to our incentivized testnet. And then I guess besides roadmap things, there probably will be a few kind of events on BetaNet and incentivized testnet. Where there might be some days where we say, okay, we're going to take the network down and restart it using our restore from archiver feature. Or maybe this day we're going to hit the network really hard with additional load from our load testing tools. So there'll be some things like that happening for people that run nodes. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I'm excited that we're into this new phase. Cool. It's like, yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Andrew and Mark. Now we'll go ahead with the community's questions. Following, Andrew presenting the roadmap, Omar, curious why, when so many projects launch an MVP with a roadmap of features they plan to build in the future, why did Shardeum spend so much time building all these features?
Yeah, this is something that I really feel like we're putting a lot of features into Shardeum, and we're doing it before launching our mainnet. The nature of the kind of features that we're adding are things where, like, if we were to launch with just an MVP, and then try to add these features later, it would probably take us years and years to get all of these features in, because once you have an actual live network, and people have assets on it, and the total value locked on that network starts to grow, it becomes really hard to make big changes to that network, and that's what most of these other projects are facing right now. But so we're spending the time up front to take our time and build as many of the features into Shardeum before we launch. So I think with that, then there's going to be a lot less disruption to the community, to the developers, and so forth once we go to mainnet. And I think that'll just be a much better experience for everyone.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's something everyone at Shardeum is proud of, is launching our mainnet feature complete and delivering on our product vision. Nischal, since we mentioned the incentivized testnet during this presentation, the community wants to know when to expect the details of that. When do you think we'll announce the details of the incentivized testnet?
So I think we'll probably do it a few days or a week before, and we do intend to list out all the details. We're still building it out. In fact, what in true Shardeum fashion, I think what everyone from the community can do is give us some ideas and feedback on what you think should be the structure of the incentivized program. The idea is that we'll have a certain amount of SHM allocated for this program. Now the question is, what sort of how should the rewards be structured? You guys feel free to give us feedback on Discord, on Twitter, and we'll collect all of these feedback, and then hopefully we'll make a fair incentivized plan, and then launch it and announce it maybe a few days before the launch of the incentivized testnet.
Awesome. Omar, there's been a lot of improvement in the stability of our testnets in the past 1 to 2 months. What were one of the major 1 to 2 changes that were made that have led to such an improvement in the performance of the network?
Yeah, actually there was many things, and I think they all kind of contributed each in their own ways. One of the biggest was how we changed our join protocol, where before we had nodes submitting a request to join every cycle, which is about 1 minute. We initially didn't expect to have 20, 30,000 nodes in standby wanting to join when the set of active nodes was only 300. So that was almost a bit of the network getting DDoSed by the standby nodes. So we changed that protocol now so that a node only has to submit a request once, gets put on a standby list. That helped quite a bit. There's also been improvements to our syncing protocol, where nodes are able to sync up faster and with less burden on other nodes, and so that's helped quite a bit as well. And there's just been a lot of other small changes that went in, which have contributed. And we also introduced the whole network modes concept, where the network now has clear defined modes that it's operating in, where it's in a forming mode, then goes into processing mode, and usually that's where you want it to be. But if you have a situation where too many nodes are dropping off, the network can get into safety mode and bring back nodes into the network at a faster rate than usual to recover. So all these things have helped to stabilize, the number of nodes in the network, and give a much more smoother experience for the users. Yeah.
Very cool to see the impact of those performance improvements and changes. Nischal, there are many.
Before that, I think it's also important to point out that the testnet has been very stable, and I could see some comments about there have being bugs and errors, but those are less to do about the stability of the network. It's more to do with since the network is now stable, now we'll start discovering new bugs that the team will solve rapidly. But the last few months, the team was really focused on making sure that the testnet runs well with all these thousands of validators from everyone around the community. And I think the team has more or less sort of achieved that goal, because if you see, I think the previous version was stable. This version, again, it's still just a few days, but it seems pretty stable. So now the team will start working on fixing all of the issues that you might encounter in, let's say, in some transactions, or if there are some issues with the Explorer. So all of those things, the faucets, I think there have been some errors, but those are less about stability. Those are just bugs that happen during the course of building a new blockchain. And I think the next few weeks, you'll see rapid improvements in those as well. But our biggest challenge was the network stability, which I think we've achieved, and we've done a great job at that. So we are looking forward to now rapidly fixing all of the errors that everyone is facing, and making sure that the network really starts operating smoothly for you when you try your transactions. And then I think the fun will start with the incentivized testnet, where we want you to really bombard the network, try to break the network, and we'll discover those bugs and we'll fix them again. And we'll finally be ready for the mainnet after that. Yeah, Greg, you were asking something.
Yes, really exciting time as we get closer to launching mainnet, and the product continues to get better and better every week. Nischal, the next question is for you. We have a lot of layer ones and layer twos. What is the reason why there's a need for Shardeum, and how will Shardeum, become a leading competitor in this space of blockchains and attract users?
Yeah, I think that's a question that's often asked, and there are so many things that you can say about that. There are so many different directions. I'll try to probably talk a few of those reasons. I think the first thing is in the question itself. When you say there are so many, if you look at all of these existing L1s and L2s from a fundamental technological point of view, they're not really many. There have been only a few fundamental changes in terms of technology in the L1s, and then a lot of them have been just forks, just different names for the same initial code. So it's not like when there are 30 or 40, or there might be 100 blockchains, but I think core technology point of view, there might be maybe 5 or 7 blockchains that are really unique, and the rest of them are just just different names given to the same piece of code. And that's where Shardeum is fundamentally different. It's not an extension or just a few lines of code changes on an existing blockchain's code that we are launching it as a new chain. This is a brand new blockchain built from the ground up, with the whole objective of building a scalable blockchain. And so that's this whole fundamental difference in technology. And I think our ecosystem is still very early. I don't think we have a lot of blockchains. In fact, we do look forward to many more innovative approaches. And this is one approach that we are taking, which I think will open the doors for a lot more innovations. There might be more incremental innovations here. And hopefully we'll also be instrumental in making those changes to Shardeum once we launch it. The other part is, I think, if you look at a lot of the blockchains of today, since they were built more to test out whether blockchains are needed or not. They were never built for a market where there'll be hundreds of millions of users or a billion users, and that's where Shardeum focuses on. If you look at right from the decentralization aspect, for example, as some of the existing blockchains are growing, they're actually getting less decentralized. They're going more towards centralization. They're trying to figure out how do you reduce the number of nodes. They're trying to figure out how do you make it such that you don't get a lot of people operating the nodes. Now that's completely opposite to what decentralization should be. In fact, when more people use a network, it should be getting more decentralized, and that's where Shardeum is different, because Shardeum is designed at its core to have more validators joining the network as the network grows, not less. So that's a fundamental difference, which brings more decentralization to Shardeum, which is unfortunately not present on any of the existing blockchains of today. And we need to bring something like that to the market if we truly believe in decentralization. The other aspect is the whole user experience of blockchains. If you think about the blockchains of today, they're really unnatural. Take for example, Web 2. You've been using so many products on the internet. Have you ever decided how much you would pay for a certain service? Not really. Or have you had a service where in the morning it's $1, and evening if you were to use it, it costs you $5, and the next day it might cost you $10. Web 2 always provided you stability, and it always told you what the cost of a service would be, and more or less the cost usually goes lower, not higher, as more people use that. So that's something that we've solved in Shardeum, where the fees, for example, will always be stable. It doesn't matter when you use Shardeum, doesn't matter how many people use Shardeum. The objective is keep the fee stable, and as a user, you don't have to decide the fee. It's a flat rate, and you make as many transactions as you want. You don't have to worry whether your transactions will be pending for 30 minutes or a day or 2 days. Your transactions will either succeed or fail at that very moment. So these are some really amazing user experience improvements that I think are first in the industry at such a scalable blockchain. And I think that's going to be interesting. That will in fact open the doors for more people to join, because one of the problems I've always heard people was that using a blockchain is very hard, and maybe that's the barrier to entry. Maybe that's the reason why we are not able to grow any of the dApps of today to tens of millions of people, because people find it hard, people find it expensive. So Shardeum solves all of these issues. The other is the EVM ecosystem. A lot of the newer chains, they've tried to build a new virtual machine, which means that developers who are building dApps have to learn a new programming language. Then they have to rebuild their applications for a new blockchain, and that breaks the ecosystem, the developer ecosystem that exists. Shardeum has made sure that we tap into an existing ecosystem, which is the EVM ecosystem, which is one of the largest. So none of the dApp developers or the protocol developers have to rebuild or relearn a new language. They can just use the tools and the code that they've used for deploying on other EVM chains. They can also deploy on Shardeum. So we're trying to get the developer community together rather than breaking them. And I can go on and on about why Shardeum is needed, but I'll take a pause. I hope some of these reasons resonate with you. But yeah, as you continue to use Shardeum and as we go to the mainnet, I think it'll get even more obvious on why you need a simple, easy to use blockchain that can scale. So yep, that's about it, I guess.
Great. Yeah, Shardeum's just so unique. There's so many new features that users haven't experienced before. So there's a lot to talk about. And I'm really excited when mainnet launches for many people in this industry to discover these new unique features that Shardeum has innovated and introduced to the Web3 world, and see them all talk about these new features, and maybe see other teams start to make use of some of these different features. Omar, the most common problem that blockchains face is the blockchain trilemma which says that blockchains have three main characteristics, being scalability, security, and decentralization. And blockchains can only have two of those three characteristics. So a community member wants to know if you feel that Shardeum will be able to solve this problem, and if so, how will it do it?
Yeah, for sure. Back in 2016 when I was designing the Shardeum protocol, that was actually my focus was how can we actually achieve scalability while maintaining decentralization and security. And everybody I think knows now that sharding is a core fundamental solution to that trilemma problem. The difficulty has been implementing sharding into these networks in such a way that the networks can continue to benefit from nodes being added and scale linearly, and that's the key thing that Shardeum has solved. And so, like, right from our beginnings, we were focused on solving the trilemma problem, and you can actually see that in our testnet now. We're not auto scaling the testnets too much because the amount of traffic hasn't really required us to increase the number of nodes. But we have done demonstrations in the past where we would start a network. Maybe it could, like, let's say it's a network of 100 nodes or 500 nodes, and it can achieve, say, 1,000 or 100 TPS. And then as we increase the TPS on that to, say, like 200, the network would automatically add more nodes and be able to handle that and scale. And as we're scaling up, we're also increasing the decentralization of the network, right? So there's more nodes in the network. And another important thing to remember is that it's not only the nodes that are active in the network that contribute to the decentralization, because we have nodes rotating and periodically coming in and going out. Even the standby nodes are actually contributing to the overall decentralization of the network. So this is a problem that's kind of existed in this space for a long time, and everybody knows that it's a very difficult problem, but we also know that sharding is the solution to it, and I think Shardeum has taken the right approach to doing sharding.
Wonderful. Yes, and that's a great segue because Andrew and Mark mentioned they also forgot to mention, speaking of auto scaling and the number of active nodes, that in one of our next testnet versions of the testnet, the amount of validators that are assigned to each account is going to increase to 128. So essentially, the shard size will be 128 validators, which is going to result in a larger number of minimum active validators. So excited to watch that feature be released. The code is already live. We just need to turn it on in one of the upcoming testnet versions. And we were supposed to wrap up now, but I have one more question, Omar. Since we were talking about the features of the network, I think the white paper is a great resource for anyone who wants to learn more about how Shardeum solves the trilemma. But with the white paper, it does a great job of covering all the different areas of the Shardeum project. But for people who really want to nerd out on the tech and go way deeper into the tech, do you plan to release additional white papers this year that talk more about like the Shardeum protocol algorithms and go really deep into how the science of the technology works?
Yeah, for sure. We'll be releasing those white papers, but they'll be like Shardeum white papers, because the core protocol layer technology, that's where we're doing, the whole sharding, how we're doing the dynamic state sharding, how we're doing auto scaling and all these other things. We probably will end up having several different white papers to cover each of those topics, because each one is pretty in depth. But yeah, we will be putting out white papers, and actually we'll be submitting papers to journals to have it peer reviewed. So
awesome. One last thing, Nischal and Omar, it's a new year and everyone's thinking about, their plan for the year, what they want to achieve. If there's, one thing you would want the community to, work on with you this year and contribute to, what would that be? Nischal, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I think, the biggest, I would say the biggest challenge and something that we should all be solving for together is to grow the Web3 ecosystem. I think we are in this phase of Web3 and crypto and decentralization where we've achieved critical mass, but we've not achieved mass adoption yet. And the only way to achieve mass adoption is if all of us are going to get together and educate everyone around us, build great products that make it easy for people to use decentralized applications. And we're all playing that part. And I hope that in 2024 we grow the crypto ecosystem at least 2 to 3x of what it is. That's something that I think I look forward to working with the community.
Yeah, for me, I think probably the biggest thing that I would like to see is more people getting involved with running validator nodes. We do have quite a few already, but I think once we have the incentivized testnet out, we'll even see that number go up higher. But also, as we start open sourcing our code, I would love to see community members start looking at that, contributing to it. And also, as we open up our bug bounty program, this is a great opportunity for you to, see if you can find bugs and issues and submit, bug bounties and, even earn a reward for doing that. So that, will really be great to see the community helping us out on those fronts.
Awesome. Yeah, really excited to work with you all on achieving these objectives. And, we're very open, community-driven, and collaborative. So if you'd like to participate in any of these areas, please get involved. You can join our Discord or, ping us on Twitter, and we're happy to connect with you and support you. With that, we would thank everyone for joining today's update. Happy New Year, and thank you so much for all of your support. For anyone who is on the call now, you have 5 minutes to mint this POAP. Who knows what the value of this POAP could be in the future. So go ahead and scan this QR code or go to the link below in the next 5 minutes and mint the POAP. Thanks so much, everyone. Again, Happy New Year.
Thank you, everyone.